Today we will talk about how to calculate volumes of 3D solids. Let's say we have a rectangular solid, or we can also call it rectangular prism. It is rectangular because its sides are rectangles. Now, when the sides are 90 degrees means like this, corner of your book, 90 degrees. When you have a solid and its base is 90 degrees to its height, then the volume is going to be area of the base times height. Now, in this case, area of the base is going to be this base in here, and the area of that is 5 times 12. Then the height is going to be 4. So this problem is 5 times 12 times 4. Make sure that you have all your lengths the same unit. And in this case, it was meter, meter, and meter. So you have 240. You always measure the volumes in meter cube, length cube, or whatever it is. 240 meter cube, or you can also put cubic meter. Let's do another one. Let's say we are looking at a volume of a cube. Again, the volume is going to be, since the sides are 90 degrees to the area of the base, so volume is going to be area of the base times height. The base is that surface that it is sitting on, okay? So let's say we assume these are 2 yards, 2 yards, and then 2 yards. Now what do you have? You're going to have area of the base, which is 2 times 2, and the height happens to be 2. 2 times 2 from left to right times 2 is 8. 8 what? It's going to be yard cube, or you can write 8 cubic yard. Then let's do a cylinder example. Again, is the area of your base perpendicular 90 degrees to the height? This is your height. And area of the base is simply that circle in there. So the volume is area of the base times height. Now let's assume we are given the R as 2 inches and the height as 4 inches. Let's calculate the area of the base. Remember, the area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi, r is 2 squared, times height. So for pi, we are going to take 3.14. 2 squared is simply 4 times 4. So you have 3.14 times 4 times 4, which will give you 50.2 inch cube. And everything was in inches, so you're done. Or you can put 50.2 cubic inches. Now, let's do one that is kind of weird. That one you just have to memorize. Now, if you have a sphere and the radius of your sphere is, let's say, 2 meters, the volume is something that you need to remember. 4 pi r cubed over 3. Okay? So what is the volume? 4 times 3.14, and r was 2 over 3. So when you do this in your calculator, you're going to get 4 times 3.14 times 8 divided by 3, and that's going to give you 33.5. And what was the R in meters? So this is going to be cubic meter, or 33.5 meter cube. Now, when you start doing solids that the height is not 90 degrees, think about it. Here's the base. Here's the base. And the side of the thing is not 90 degrees, okay? So when it's pointed like this, it's not like a cylinder. Cylinder has a base and the sides, and they are 90 degrees to each other. This one isn't. You have a base, and this is not 90 degrees. It has a pointed tip. So the volume for these kind of pictures is going to be V equals, for volume, 1/3 area of the base times height. And the height is going to be measured from the middle of the base to the tip of that height. So here's your height. This is not the height. Not the height. This is the height. So let's assume they are giving me the R, and that's 2 yards. And the side of this length is 3 yards. That is not the height you're going to take. You need the inside height. And let's say they are giving you that as 2.5 yards. So the volume is going to be 1/3 area of the base, which is pi r squared, and r is 2, times the height, the vertical height, which is 2.5. So when you go and you calculate that, you have 3.14 times 4 times 2.5 divided by 3, and that will give you 10.5. And what did I start with? Yard cube, or you can write 10.5 cubic yards. Now let's go to the next example. Let's say I have a pyramid. Again, I have a tip. The volume is going to be area of the base, which is that little square or rectangle in there. In this case, let's assume it's a square. It's going to be 1/3 area of the base times the height. The height that is actually perpendicular, not the slanted height. Let's assume one side of it is 2 inches and the height is 3 inches, and this slanted height is 3.5 inches. So what would be the volume? 1/3 area of the base, which is 2 by 2, times height. Which height? 3 or 3.5? 3.5 is the slanted one, 3 is the straight one. So it is going to be 3. 3's will go away. 2 times 2 is 4, and that's going to be cubic inches. Okay, let me write this a little bit cleaner. Cubic inches. You can also put 4-inch cube.